your timing when it comes to this market couldn't be any better, all right? Whether it's on purpose or by blind luck, you have come to the foreign currency market at a historic time. I don't know if you noticed. Back on August the 24th, the Chinese yuan was in the news and something happened, and you didn't need to be a currency expert to hear some of the headlines. But the fact of the matter is, this market moved, and it moved huge, and it moved in a historical way. So what you need to know is you're on the cutting edge, just finding out a little bit more about this market. And when you're done with what I'm going to teach you today, you're going to put yourself in a position to make some serious money. Now, let me give you our agenda so you know exactly what to expect. It says 60 minutes, but I'm going to pare it down to about 45, which means we're going to be moving quickly. If you don't have that piece of paper or pen handy, go ahead and get it. I apologize ahead of time, but I am going to be moving quickly, so I'm going to need you to kind of stay the course. And do me a favor and stay till the very end. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company, how we were built, what our mission is, which is to train new traders to trade Forex direct, live, and hands-on, working with our people. Know that my company has been doing this 21 years. Market Traders Institute has traded or trained 30,000 students. We've been focused on one market, Forex market, this opportunity and this market, and we've trained people who are just like you, all right? Whether you're a student, let's say you're a retail manager, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you paint, you're a chiropractor, truck driver, doesn't matter who you are. At the end of the day, the beauty of this market is, with what I share with you today, anybody can trade it and do it successfully. By the time I'm done, you'll be able to do it. In fact, I'm here to tell you that you probably know more about trading in this market than you think you do. My absolute goal today is this. All right, stay with me on this. My goal is to train you well enough, no matter where you are, a 1, a 2, or a 3, to take a step forward in your Forex trading. So if this is your first class, whether you have that small account open, you've been trading a while, or you're just looking for the right team to trade with, I'm going to introduce you to the market, to the best team in the business, all right, 2 master traders that you can trade right alongside. And the fact is, you'll be able to, by the time I'm done, get an account opened and put yourself in a position to be successful, all at no risk to you. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. Who am I? All right, I think it's important, if I'm going to be the voice you hear for the next 40 minutes, that you know who's delivering the message. My name's Joe Cavallaro. I've got a license to trade in just about every single market: commodities, options, stock options, futures, and Forex. Right? I'm here to tell you that, having been exposed to all of them, whether it was on the Toronto Exchange, the Australian Exchange, or the New York Exchange, the Forex, especially for the new person, is the market that I would choose. It's only because it gives the trader every available advantage. Like I said, I've traded them all. All right, I've traded stocks, probably a couple million shares, currency, probably a couple $1 billion worth. And at the end of the day, this is the market that's going to give you, the individual, probably the best opportunity to flat out make some money. Now, everybody starts the same way. You start with your first lesson, and that's fine. I'm not going to move so fast and try and impress you with fancy jargon. I'm going to keep things simple, and we're going to talk about opportunity, and we're going to talk about taking action. All right? That's really the crux of Forex trading. If you have the ability to take action, at the end of the day, that's going to be your most important character trait, your most important aptitude. All right, one more time, it out right now, because like I said, we're going to be moving forward quickly. No matter what your financial goals are, this is the market that you can accomplish them in. It's easy to get started. All right, why else would you trade the Forex? There's huge liquidity in this market. Go ahead and write that down. What does liquidity mean? It means it's a massive market, but more importantly to you, it means you can get in it when you want to and get out when you want to, and you can trade round the clock. This market has huge flexible hours, which means no matter what it is you're doing during the day or evening, you can still trade in this market, and you don't have to bring a lot of money to the table. All right, I'm going to show you how with as little as $200, you can make some noise in this market. In fact, you won't need very much capital at all, and you'll still be able to be successful. And I'm going to make it super easy for you to understand. I'm here to tell you probably know more about this market than you think you do, and I'll show you about that in a minute. One more time, Market Traders Institute. Who are we? All right, we are a 21-year, 30,000 student, 150 employee group. out of Lake Mary, Florida. All right, we were founded in 1994, and our goal is to create successful traders. The fact of the matter is, that's what we've been doing. We got the longest track record and the greatest number of trained students in the business. So I know that you have choices in the marketplace, but there's only one number one, and whether it's by blind luck or good selection, you've actually found number one. In fact, here's this month's cover of Inc. magazine. All right, this month's issue, we're actually mentioning it. Right? Why? Well, because we produce results. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the world. In fact, we're mentioned in the same breath as Microsoft and GoPro and Under Armour and Timberland. We produce results. Our success comes from building Forex traders. And when one new person gets involved, that's how we grow. Because if we get them results, they tell 2 and 3 and 4 people, right? And the fact of the matter is, success ends up building on success. Now, we're led by this person. Go ahead and write his name down. His name is Jared Martinez, but he's known in the Forex world as the Forex Chief, or the Chief is what we call him. All right, let me tell you a little bit about him so you understand what the driving force is behind Market Traders Institute. All right, Chief's been at this for 25 years. Several years ago, several people approached him and saw his success in Forex trading, and they said, hey, can you teach us how to do that? And it got to a point where it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. There's a lot of people saying, hey, you're a successful Forex trader. Can you help us out? And he said, well, in order to help out the most people, I'm going to go ahead and write a book, and that should go ahead and take care of it. So he ended up writing a best-selling Forex trading book. But that actually didn't solve his problem. In fact, it got bigger because the more people read the book, the more really wanted that personal touch from him to say, okay, now take what you're teaching me and show me how to do it live in the market. All right, give me that confidence that goes with being not able to learn just from a book, but side by side with you. And that's why he created Market Traders Institute. So now he and the staff, me included, are delivering just that. We take the interest that you have, and I appreciate your interest. I'm glad you're here today. We're going to turn that into some real learning, and then we're going to turn that into action. You took an important step being here today. Right? Your being here is not an accident, and I'm glad you acted on being here today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, why are you here? Here's another one of those 1, 2, 3 questions. Some of you are here because it's an investor inspiration workshop. You've got stock market investments, maybe some real estate investments, but you're saying, I want to diversify a little bit. I've heard this Forex offers an opportunity. Let me find out more about it. If that's you, go ahead and type a number 1 in the box so I can make sure we're still together. Now, some of you say, yeah, that's me. Okay, a bunch of you, fantastic, are saying, yeah, that's me. I'm here to diversify. But more than anything, and I think the main reason you're here is flat out to make some money. I put the word income on there, but let's just take the gloves off here for a minute. If you're just here to flat out learn how to make some dough, go ahead and type that into the box, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. And it's okay to say it out loud. Darn it, I'm coming to the workshop so I can find out how to make some money, and I heard this Forex market thing is going to give me that opportunity. If that's you, thank you. Dough sounds good. Thank you, Joel. Portfolio growth. Angelo, let me show you how this works. Jay, let's get to it. Show me how to make some money. Because why? Because that's going to be that feather in your cap. If you flat out learn how to skill, like trading the Forex market, and you can do it consistently and profitably, all of a sudden you're powered. Right? You've got that skill in your back pocket away from you. Right? When you see that it's achievable and repeatable and you can learn it, guess what? That's what it's all about. The currency market is where money trades. It's the $4 trillion running through this market every day, and we're going to help you realize some of that money. And don't worry if you're brand new. Show me the money. All right? If you're brand new, it's okay. Was new. This is John, right? Older guy, retired. He had his fixed income, but he wanted the next step. Seeing his income not have the same purchasing power as inflation went up, as things got more expensive, and what happens? Well, he came to Market Traders Institute and met the chief, and the chief said, let's slow down for just a minute. Down to your level. It's okay to be new. You don't have to know everything at once. Learn this as you go from here. We'll get you started. And eventually I want you talking like John does. It's new and a little bit anxious. How about John, who's been at it a couple months and tripled his account? With you today. Let me get you to the point where I can teach you when to get in, when to get out, when to stay out, and how this market works. If you can visualize 6 months from now, that's where I want you to be. Now, 6 months, he did it in a day, right? Made a nice profit my first day. Thanks a lot, guys. And that's the name of the game. Getting where Larry is. Thank you, Josh, for your tutoring for this week. I can't thank you enough. Now, who's Josh? Write down the name. Martinez is going to be one of the Forex trainers that you're going to be able to work with side by side and live in the market. I'll give you the tools today to set you up so that you'll be able to get started with him right away. Don't worry if you're brand new. Josh is going to take you the rest of the steps once I give you the foundation and the basics. Now, who's Josh? Josh started here at Market Traders Institute as a student. Right? He started with about $500 in his account back in 2011. Before he decided to be a Forex trader, you know what he was doing? He was a personal trainer. All right, nice guy, that's fine. But he said to himself, man, I'm making a living, but this isn't where I want to be. So he ended up coming to Market Traders Institute, was introduced to the chief, and the chief got him started. The chief mentored Josh right from the beginning. Long story short, he took an initial account from $500 and turned it into a $39,000 profit. Now, before I go on any further, let me ask you this. Does that sound like at least a decent reason to pay attention? If you could turn 500 bucks into 39,000, would you at least want to find out how? If so, go ahead and type a yes in the box. And my screen lights up. Perfect. That's really what happened here. Josh took 500 bucks, learned from the chief, who was his direct mentor. They traded side by side. He traded from $500 up to 39,000, and at that point, the chief said, all right, that's it. You're not going to be the teacher or student anymore. Now it's time for you to join the team. Now it's time, Josh, for you to be the teacher. And today, Josh is the lead analyst and lead trainer here at Market Traders Institute. And at the end, I'll show you how to trade with him side by side. All right, turn 500 bucks into 39,000. Anybody interested in that? Of course you are. Now, at this point, here's what I need to tell you. Even though I'm showing you different results, not every result is typical. Need to show you that. In the Forex market, there are the opportunities to make gains as well as losses, and you shouldn't trade any more money than you are willing to lose. And of course, I'm going to tell you that. In fact, I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need to know to make a good decision on whether trading the Forex is right for you. And I'll say this, trading Forex is not going to be for everyone. But the information I give you over the next 35 minutes is going to give you enough to be able to make a good decision on whether it's right for you. Was it right for Josh? Of course. He's our lead trainer and analyst for a reason. He started with 500 bucks, probably in a similar place that you'll be starting. But you're going to go ahead and build your skill level. You'll build your vocabulary. You'll build your understanding in the market. And the goal is for you to do just like Josh did, start with 500 bucks, but now he's taken out $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a day from the market. And the best part of that is for you, and like I told you, your timing is good. You're going to get to work side by side with Josh Martinez at the end of this webinar. All right? He's personally ready to teach you how to do exactly the same thing. Now, Melissa does it. Here she says it just a couple hours ago. Hey, I got 183 pips today. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate the time you took to show me how to pull this off. All right, Coyote's doing it too. Here's a quick testimonial from him. 50 pips, 100 pips, 73 pips. Josh, I appreciate it. I used your strategy. Your mentorship is invaluable. So here's my promise to you. By the time I'm done, and I wanted to give you that foundation so you'd understand who it is and what it is delivering the message. All right? But by the time I'm done here today, flat out, you're going to know more than 90% of the people on this earth about trading the Forex. All right? My promise to you is that you're going to be ready by the time I'm done to open a Forex account. 30 minutes from now, you've got the time. Let's go ahead and take it together. And if I've done what they've asked me to do, you're going to be prepared to work with Josh and Chris, our two Forex trading experts. So with that, and without further delay, let's go ahead and get started on the fundamentals of trading. Now, for my number ones, this is really going to be for you, so you understand just how easy this is. For my number twos, this might give it a little bit of a different perspective. And number threes, hold on with me for a minute so I can get everybody else caught up to speed. We're going to take a little trip. We're going to go to Niagara Falls. All right, why are we going there? Because it's time for us to take a little bit of a vacation day. Most of us, all right, let's say we're in North America. We live there. Just pretend for a minute you live and work in New York. And for those of you who aren't listening to me from the U.S., let's pretend for a minute you're in the U.S. on a work visa. You're used to going to U.S. shops, U.S. restaurants, and so forth, spending U.S. dollars. Okay, you're a U.S. dollar person. But for one day, we're going to take a quick trip, and we're going to go to Niagara Falls. It's a vacation day. And you think to yourself, I've got that one coming. So you put yourself in the car, you drive yourself north, you're headed for a day off in Niagara Falls. Stay with it. When you get to the border, you run into a place that looks like this, a currency exchange booth. Now, by a show of hands or a mention in the chat box, how many have ever been to a currency exchange booth before? Darshan, you've never been? I'll show you how this works. Zach, never been to one. Never been traveling. Well, look, guess what? This couldn't be any easier. When you go to a foreign country, you're going to run into a currency exchange booth. Why? Because when you're in that foreign country, of course, their preference is that you transact your personal business in that country's dollars. Right? Some of you have been. Terrific. I appreciate that. Jennifer, Bob, Phil, Jay. All right, you got it. Let's say you cross over the border on your way to Canada, but in order to make things easier, right? When in Rome, you want to do as the Romans. When in Canada, you want to do like Canadians. You're going to exchange your U.S. dollars for Canadian dollars. You go to a currency exchange booth, and the first thing you look for is this. That screen, when you go to a currency exchange booth, shows you the day's exchange rate. And when you look at that screen, you see a number that looks like this, USD, CAD, and a number after it, 1.3250. What that tells you is the exchange rate right here and right now. U.S. dollars against Canadian dollars, 1.325. Well, what does that all mean? That means for every dollar you have in your pocket, you can exchange that for 1.325 Canadian dollars. Now, if that makes sense, go ahead and type a Y or a yes in the box. Perfect. All right, so I've got all of you with me, right? Bunch of my screen just lights up. Joan, Eddie, appreciate it. All right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to say to yourself, well, I'm going to go and have some good fun here in Niagara Falls. I'm going to go ahead and take the money I've got in my pocket, my walking around money, and just exchange my U.S. dollars for Canadian dollars. And you figure, okay, if I'm going to the casino, if I'm going to Niagara Falls, if I'm going to the Maid of the Mist, maybe going to go visit a couple of attractions, I better be walking around with about $1,000 U.S. worth of fun in my pocket. So you take $1,000 out of your pocket. You pass it through the exchange window. The girl behind the window counts it out, and at the current rate of exchange, passes back to you Canadian dollars. At the current rate of exchange, she gives you back 1,325. Now, that should be pretty easy. Well, guess what? If you can see that transaction, you have just done your first foreign currency trade. You sold U.S. dollars, and you bought Canadian dollars at the going rate. One more time. You sold U.S. dollars, and you bought Canadian dollars at the going rate of exchange. Simple. That's your first currency trade. Good for you. Doesn't mean much to you. You just stick the money in your pocket. You're on vacation. You go to have some fun. So you drive the rest of the way to Niagara Falls. Awesome. And you're planning your day. You can't wait to have some fun. But somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, did you know today was a free day? You're like, what are you talking about? Why are you bothering me? Why are you tapping me on the shoulder? Say that again. The person informs you that today in Canada, your lucky day, it's a free day. And any American tourist or any tourist showing up doesn't have to pay for anything. So all that money you went and exchanged is going to stay in your pocket for the whole day. And you're going to have the fun that you want. You're going to go see Niagara Falls. You're going to ride the Maid of the Mist. And it's not going to cost you a dime. Not too bad? Not too bad. By the time the day is over with, you're exhausted. It was a great vacation day, and it's time to go home. You drive yourself back to the border, but what do you remember? In your pocket, you still have those Canadian dollars. on your way back to New York, the States, that's not going to do you any good. So the last stop you have to make after your vacation day is over is back at the currency exchange window. What do you do when you get there? Well, you take your Canadian dollars out of your pocket. Now you remember in the morning when you checked the screen, the exchange rate was 1.3250. Now when you look and it's time to get rid of that Canadian money, you check again and it's gone to 1.3110. So the difference there is a little over a penny. And you think to yourself, well, that doesn't look like that big of a deal. Let me just get rid of this Canadian money, get back some good old US dollars so I can head home. So you take your US or Canadian dollars, pass them through the window, and what comes back to you at the current rate of exchange? Well, I went ahead and did the calculation for you. When you send back the 1,325 Canadian dollars that you got in the morning, what comes back to you at this new rate of exchange is 1,010 US dollars. So you stick that in your pocket and you head for your car, but you think to yourself, where did the extra $10 come from? Did the lady count it wrong? She didn't. She gave you exactly the right amount of dollars in exchange for your Canadian. So here's the question. If you started with 1,000 US in the morning and you're at 1,010 in the afternoon, where did the extra $10 come from? Go ahead and type your answer in the chat box. Perfect. Most of you have it. The answer is you found an extra $10 from the rate of exchange, the fluctuation in the exchange rate. Now, some of you are asking me, hold on a second, the rate went down. Well, that's true, but during the day, you didn't hold the US dollar, which was weakening. You held the Canadian dollar, which was gaining strength. As a matter of fact, you ended up holding the right currency throughout the day, and when you cashed it back in, there was a small profit in it for you. Now, that doesn't look too bad. Some of you are like, did I just do a foreign exchange trade for profit? As a matter of fact, you did. And you made yourself 1% on your money, took you a day to do it. Now, some of you are like, great, cool, fun. Okay, I appreciate that. And I wanted you to put this in perspective. If you made 1% on your money in a day doing something that was mechanically super simple, would that be any good? Well, I would suggest that that's more than your checking account pays for the whole year. I'd say that if you made 1% a day, that would equal 365% if you traded every day all year. And some of you are criticizing that a little bit on the feedback, saying, well, wait a second, mechanically it's simple, but I didn't come here to learn how to make $10, and I have to go to Canada to do it. I don't know that I'm very interested. Well, guess what? You don't have to. The fact is, mechanically, you've just done a foreign currency trade. You sold dollars to buy Canadian, and then you reversed it. Okay? You sold Canadian to buy dollars, and you made some money doing it. All right? Mechanically, it's real simple. But here's where the fun starts. You don't have to go to Canada. You can do this from home. The other part that makes this fun is that I told you earlier that this is a leveraged market. It's leveraged at 50 to 1. Now, write that down. Leveraged market, 50 to 1. Now, what does that mean? Well, what if I told you that by doing exactly the same trade, putting up the same amount, and the currency moved exactly the same amount, about a penny, would making $10 on that trade, you leverage your fund, and on $1,000 invested, you made yourself $500. Would I at least, you don't need to know how I did it, but would a $500 profit on 1,000 invested in a day, 50% rate of return, would that at least get your attention? I got to believe it would. And that's the power of this market, right? And this is the opportunity that's open to you. Zach, I appreciate the feedback because that's the name of the game. You might not have any idea what I just did, but I know you can do a currency trade. Mechanically, it's just this simple, right? And I know $500 has got your attention, so let's go ahead and talk for a minute about the market you're going to be trading in. All right, stay with me. Forex market was created in 1973 by U.S. President Nixon, who took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard. He allowed the dollar to float against other currencies. Now the only way to find the value of the dollar was not against some reserve of gold, but you had to compare it to other currencies. That's what started the Forex market. All right. In the beginning, in fact, for about 26 years, all of the trading in Forex went through all the big banks. For about 30 years, this was, listen to this, the bank's market. Not only did they trade in it, but for that same 30 years, they lobbied all of the governments that had participation. All the banks lobbied to keep the individual investor out of this market. Right, for 30 years, the banks could trade this market, but the investor couldn't. Now, can anybody tell me, or even take a guess, why the banks would lobby to keep the individual investor out? Go ahead and type the answer in your chat box. Why do you think the banks were looking to keep the individual investor, you and I, out of this market? You got it. Money. It all comes down to money. Let me let you understand how big this market is. The big banks were making a huge profit trading the foreign currency market. Bank of America, this is one bank, makes about $2 billion a year trading foreign exchange. And the bottom line is they were lobbying all the governments to keep that profit center for themselves. That's not a big surprise, right? But here's what happened. Individual investors in the mid-90s said, wait a second, there's an opportunity there. We need an opportunity to trade in that market also. Individual investors started to get together. They ended up lobbying to the point where they finally blew the door open. In the year 2000, the U.S. Congress passed what was called the Commodities Modernization Act. And that is what opened the Forex market to individual investors like you and me. Now all of a sudden, you and I could finally trade this market for a piece of that pie. And it is, listen to this, the biggest pie there is. Understand, the Forex market is bigger than all the other world markets put together. It is a $4 trillion market. $4 trillion goes through this market every day. I don't know about you, I don't need to make $4 trillion a day. All right, I don't need to make all that to be happy. I'm not greedy, but I want an opportunity to be able to make some of it. Because if Bank of America can make $2 billion a year, I don't think it's too much to ask to make $200 or $300 or $500 a day. If you agree with that, go ahead and type a yes in the box. And here's what you need to know. Joan, of course, right? Here's what you need to know. There's no cap on what you can make in this market. It's an ocean of money, $4 trillion a day. And I'm going to show you how you can rake a couple of those into your column. But here's why this is also important. The fact that it is a huge market, $4 trillion a day, means it's also a liquid market. Now, what does that mean to you? It means you can get into this market when you want to and at a price that's predictable. Write that down. This market is liquid. You can get into the market whenever you want to. It takes fractions of a second. You click the button, you're in the market. But more importantly, you can get out of this market when you need to and at a price that's predictable. Again, you click the button, you're out in fractions of a second. What does that mean? Liquidity is important because it lowers your risk. Market's not closed. As a matter of fact, market's open 24 hours a day. So you can get in when you want to and out when you need to. It's open 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, round the clock. It opens Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and it stays open round the clock till Friday at 4 Eastern Time. Other markets open and close. If the market's closed, guess what? If you heard a news announcement about a stock or a company that you're holding, but the market's closed, pretty tough to get out or at a predictable price. You got to wait till the following morning when bad things have already happened. In this market, you can get in when you want to, you can get out when you need to, and you can do it around the clock. Now, market's real easy to understand. For those of you who are hanging with me, stay with me. We're almost through the toughest part. I've got to teach you what it is you're going to be trading. If you were trading the stock market, you'd have 40,000 stocks to learn, right? 40,000 different issues. All right, options market, another 40,000. In this market, we keep things real simple because you're only going to be trading 6 items, right? The 6 major currency pairs. Write that down. Now, you've already traded one, right? You traded the U.S. dollar Canadian just a little while ago. Here's what you need to know. This is going to be the focus of just about all your trading. 90% of all the trading in currencies goes through the euro, the pound, the yen, the Swiss, the Canadian, and the Australian dollars. Write those down. You're going to be trading the euro, the Great British pound, the Japanese yen, Swiss, or the Swissy, the Canadian dollar, and the Australian dollar. Now, the currency that's on the left-hand side is called the base currency. The one on the right is called cross currency. That's fun to know. Get you talking like a trader, right? Every currency pair, just like in the Canadian that you traded earlier, is followed by an exchange rate. Here's how you read this. You read it from left to right. When you see a currency pair, Euro/USD 1.1132, what that means is that 1 euro buys 1.1132 US dollars. Now, if that makes sense, go ahead and type yes in the chat box so I can move on. You need to have this foundation. Jones got it. Zach's got it. Sanjeev's got it. Greg's got it. Zach. All right, you're with me on this. Exchange rates fluctuate, and we're going to look to profit from those fluctuations. Well, what happens? Just take a look at this diagram. When I'm looking at the Euro-US currency pair, let's say the euro is strong. Well, that means the euro is gaining strength, which means it's going to end up buying more US dollars. That means the euro and the exchange rate are going to go up. Going back to flat here again, let's say I'm looking at the euro and US pair, and the euro is weak. Or another way to say it is the dollar is strong. Well, that means the euro's going down, the dollar's going up. The exchange rate will fluctuate. The euro will buy fewer dollars. It's just that simple. Now, currencies trade in dollars, cents, and pips. Let's take a look at that. We're used to dollars and cents. The first digit is dollars. The next two are cents. But we as traders want to look out here at the third and fourth decimal place at what we call the pips. Write that down, because as a currency trader, you're going to be looking to capture pips. Stands for price interest point. It's the fluctuation in the third and fourth decimal place of your exchange rate. Out there is where the pips are, dollars, cents, and pips. Let me give you an example. Let's put this together. You have your euro and US dollar pair. It's trading at 1.1132. Let's say the euro is strong and it moves up. That means the exchange rate is going to fluctuate upward. Suddenly the euro will be stronger, and it moves from 11.32 to 1.1182. That is a movement of 50 pips. If that makes sense, go ahead and type a yes in your box. We're moving quickly, but we're almost through this part. If you can get the foundation of this down, gang, I'm telling you, you're going to know more than 90% of the people on this planet about trading currencies. How many of you understand that? Camilo does. Sanjeev, Zach, you're still with me. Stan, appreciate that. That makes sense. We're looking to capture pips. Peter, I saw you there too. Now, when we trade in currencies, we trade in lots. One lot of currency controls $100,000. Write it down. Don't worry about the number yet. I'll help you make sense out of it in a minute. In the old days, when just banks were trading in this market, they used to trade in denominations of that size, $100,000 at a time. But today, because this is a leveraged market, you, the individual trader, only have to bring a fraction of that in order to participate. Let me show you what I mean. You only have to bring a little bit to the table, and the broker that you work with is going to be able to fill in the gap so that you can participate in this market. Show you what I mean. When you're trading with 50-to-1 leverage and you want to trade one lot of currency, you bring $2,000 principal to the table. The broker that you work with matches that 50 times. 50 times 2,000 equals 100,000, and that is a lot of currency. So you bring a little bit, the broker fills in the rest, and now you're able to control one lot. You're able to participate in this market. Now, some people say, well, why do they do that? Why does the broker fill in the gap and let you borrow the rest of that so you can trade? I mean, do they do it because they're nice people? Guess what? There's something in it for the broker. They don't do this out of the kindness of their heart. What the broker does is charges you, the individual trader, a toll, or what's called a spread on your trade. Go ahead and write that down. I told you I was going to tell you about everything. This is important. For providing you the leverage, The broker is going to charge you, depending on the currency you trade, between 1 and 3 pips to give you that leverage. Put it all together. You make 50 pips on your trade. You trade one lot of currency, that's $100,000. You make yourself 500 bucks. So on that move that I just showed you on the euro, trading one lot of currency, you can make yourself $500. It's a leverage market, and that's the name of the game. Each pip when you trade a lot is worth 10 bucks. Now, how often do trades like that happen? If I've got $500 worth of opportunity, that looks pretty good to me, but some of you might be saying, well, Joe, how often does that really happen? It happens in every currency, every single day of the week. Understand, on the euro, every day, there's 135 pips worth of opportunity. On the pound, 160. On the Aussie, 122. There's opportunity in every one of the currencies we trade every single day of the week. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to capture one of those or all of those. You only need to capture a small part of any of those to be able to make some serious money trading the Forex market. Work with our traders. How about it? Work with Josh. Here's somebody who made 52 pips. Trading a lot of currency, that's $520. Trading for the day. Here's somebody else, Peter Cook. Hey, I did Josh's strategy, made myself 80 pips. Went ahead and protected my downside, setting some stop orders. Well, what that means is his upside was huge, his downside was protected. Joe, I don't know what any of that means. It's okay. When you work with our traders, Josh and Chris, you're going to understand just how to set yourself up for opportunity, but also limit your downside. Here's somebody who made 88 pips in an hour using Chris's strategy. Working with us, Josh and Chris, is going to give you that opportunity. Now, who's Chris? Let me introduce you to the second Forex trader you're going to have an opportunity to work with, and then I'm going to tell you exactly how you're going to be able to do it. Chris Pulver came to Market Traders Institute 6 years ago. All right? He was a PGA golf pro. The fact of the matter is, he was looking for something else to do to supplement his income. And he, like Josh, brought a small amount of money to the table, walked up to the chief and said, show me how to do this. When he did that, the chief said, listen, I'm going to teach you how to trade. But at the end of the day, when I'm done with you, I'm going to ask you to train some people to do the same thing. And that's exactly what happened. He started with a $200 deposit in his account. Now he's traded his way, not to being a student anymore, but he is the teacher. Now some of you say, well, Joe, help me understand. If one guy started with 300, another guy started with 200, you just showed me that I needed 2,000 to be able to trade this market in order to be able to trade that lot. So explain to me how it is that I cross over. How do I fill in that gap? I don't understand. All right. Last thing I'm going to show you. To trade a lot of currency, you need to bring 2,000 to the table. Times 50 to 1 leverage, that's $100,000. That means each of those pips is worth 10 bucks. But if you only have a couple of $100, it's okay. You're not going to trade lots. You're going to trade what's called mini lots, 200 bucks of your money. The broker is still going to leverage that 50 times. That's going to give you a $10,000 currency position, and each of those pips will be worth $1. Now, if that makes sense, go ahead and type a yes in the box so I can move on. This is super important. And for my
Joe, just a heads up, you got about 5 minutes
remaining. You're saying to yourself, I'm not sure I'm ready to get into the market. Here's what you need to know. If you've got 200 bucks, you can get started. You'll let us do the rest. And I'm going to show you how right now. I'm going to send you a link right now that I want all of you to have a look at. It's going to bring you to this screen. And because we have just a limited amount of time today, I want you to know that you're prepared to do this now. You have the vocabulary in hand to be able to work with our trainers. And now it's a matter of giving you a chance to do it. All right? The fact of the matter is, because they're waving their hands at me, my job now is to show you that you can get this done with just what I've taught you. You know pips, lots, and leverage. You know that it's a 24-hour market. We're going to teach you the rest of this, and I know you can do it. All right? Is there some chart reading to learn? Sure. Is there some trends to learn how to spot? Of course. Have you done a little bit of the basics? Yeah. But today I've given you the foundation you need to be able to work with our trainers in the live Forex mentorship and empowerment program. The link I gave you is going to send you to a link where you can get involved with our trainers here at Market Traders Institute. We'll give you 8 live sessions a week, 8 live sessions. 2 of those per week, live trading in the market alongside Josh and Chris, 2 of the very best trainers who started right where you did. Not only will they give you live analysis, they'll tell you when to get in, when to get out, and how to protect your downside. They're going to start on Monday morning, the 21st at 9 o'clock. They'll give you a live hour session and get you prepared for Thursday's 4-hour live trading session. Now, you can trade that with real money. You can trade that with a practice account. If you want to go ahead and open an account today, you can do that right after we're finished. Simply type into Google, live Forex broker account. It'll bring up a sheet full of brokers. Pick one. Click on practice account. You'll be ready to go with some practice money, but your ability to trade in the market and put us to the test will be ready. Monday the 21st, you'll be able to work live with Josh, 9 o'clock in the morning. Write that down. And when you get involved in the Live Forex Mentorship Program, we'll give you a user ID and a password that'll be your key to that class. Now, there's an important first session. That's the 24th, 7 o'clock in the morning. Those of you who have been asking me, hey, can we trade live using a strategy or two? What's Josh's strategy this week? How about Chris? Doesn't he have that London strategy? We're going to show you that live Thursday, the 24th at 7 a.m. And we'll trade live side by side with you until 11 o'clock. Now, when you become a member of the Live Forex Mentorship and Empowerment Program, you'll get 8 live sessions every Monday, and then again on Thursday. The Monday dates are the 28th, 5th, and 12th, 28th of September, 5th, and 12th of October. The Thursday dates are the 1st, 8th, and 15th of October. You'll want to write this down. Thursday the 1st is a super important day because it comes just ahead of the first Friday of the month, which is when the foreign currency market is going to move drastically. Now, how does Joe know that? Does he have a crystal ball? How does he know the Forex market's going to move drastically on the first Friday of the month? That's when the U.S. market announces what's called non-farm payrolls. Write that down. You don't even have to know what it means. We'll show you in our mentorship program. But that's the day the foreign currency market's going to move, and your timing is very good because you'll have now 2 live sessions ahead of it so that you can take advantage of that profit opportunity. Tony did it. He made 130 pips in 2 hours. Continues to work with Josh Martinez. Juan did it, 200 pips, 230 pips, 175 pips. This is too good to be true, he said. If you start with our program today, we'll include with it 30 days of Analyst on Demand, which gives you an analyst available round the clock here at Market Traders Institute. We'll send you great foundational reading so that you can continue to solidify your platform of knowledge. We'll get in touch with you so that we can personalize this a little bit, and you can set up your own profit plan. So we can show you what to do, how to do it, and make sure your goals are defined. And the last thing we'll give you is the Chief's book, because you know what? That's where it all started. Now, most of you are wondering, okay, how much is all that? We knew that by coming here today, we'd learn a little something, but we need to know how much is it? Well, for the 8 sessions, plus the mentorship, the profit plan consultation, the Chief's book, the foundational book, and round-the-clock help, normally that runs $297 a month. Josh said today, knock it down 50%, make it $147 a month. The Chief said, and your host said, no, we want everybody to get involved. So do this. For today, instead of it being those prices, make it $27. So that with what you give them that's basic, they'll be ready to say, okay, that's something I can commit to, and these guys better deliver. In other words, $27 gets you Josh, Chris, and 8 live sessions. With what you have right now, you'll be able to trade side by side with them. And now you get to put them to the test. And if they don't deliver, we'll give you back your money. So that's your choice today. And taking action is a big part of trading. If you've got even an inkling about taking advantage of trading foreign currency, there's a lot of choices out there, a lot of free information. But now it's time to focus and harness your effort. If some of the best, Josh Martinez, Chris Pulver, Market Traders Institute, and the Chief, are here today opening the door to you for a $27 commitment, well, guess what? That's something that just about anybody can do. And here's what you do. When you click on the link that I just sent you, this box is going to pop up. It includes everything that I just said. And when you drag it down, it says, take it for a 30-day test drive. It's guaranteed. If after 30 days of the Forex Live Mentorship and Empowerment Program, we don't deliver $27 worth of value in knowledge and returns, in entry and exit points, and our ability to show you how to do this, you get your money back. You can use Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover. When you click on Take a 30-Day Test Drive, it brings you up to this screen.
Hey, Joseph, we are just about out of time, buddy.
Yep, name, etc., credit card information, and place your order. Once you do that, you become part of the group, and you're ready to go for Monday morning. So they're flagging me down right now and saying, hey, we're out of time for this presentation. But know this, if you get started with this today, right, for $27, we'll guarantee the performance. And if it's not everything that we said it was, that path to Forex success for you, we'll go ahead and refund your money. And with that, I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for giving me the extra time, and I'll see you guys again another time. Thank you.